Welcome back to a new video. In this series we focus on the Olympian gods of Greek mythology. The Olympian gods are the major deities in Greek mythology who reside on Mount Olympus. They were worshipped throughout ancient Greece and played key roles in myths, legends, and human affairs. In this video we focus on all the Olympian gods. There are 13 god and goddesses in total. We start the video with
Zeus. Possibly one of the most famous mythological beings. Zeus is known as the ruler of Mount Olympus and the king of the gods. He is the god of the sky, thunder, lightning, law, and order. His father is Cronus. He is the leader of the Titans and the god of time. His mother is Rhea. She is the goddess of motherhood and fertility. Cronus, fearing a prophecy that one of his children would overthrow him, swallowed each of them at birth. However, Rhea tricked Cronus by giving him a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes instead of baby Zeus and hid Zeus on Mount Ida in Crete. He has 5 siblings. They are Poseidon, Hades, Hestia, Demeter, and Hera. Hera is also the first wife of Zeus. Zeus was known for his numerous romantic escapades with gods and mortals, fathering many demigods and heroes. To seduce the mortals, he turned himself into an animal. To seduce Leda he turned into a swan, and for Europa he turned himself into a bull. He has many children with his first 6 wives. Some include Athena, Apollo, Persephone, Hercules, and Ares. When Zeus grew up, he returned to his father to rescue his siblings by forcing Cronus to vomit them out. Zeus released the Cenomanes and the Cyclopes from the earth, where they had been imprisoned by Cronus, and they allied with him as well. He then led the Titanomachy, a 10-year war where the Olympians defeated the Titans and imprisoned them in Tartarus. Zeus established order among gods and humans, acting as a divine judge. And he divided the universe. He made himself the ruler of the sky. He made Poseidon the ruler of the sea. And he made Hades the ruler of the underworld. He also played a key role in the Trojan War. Zeus tried to stay neutral, but he was involved in events like the Judgment of Paris, where he let Paris choose the most beautiful goddess, leading to the war. And he occasionally intervened in battles, protecting some warriors and punishing others. Zeus was known as father of gods and men, ensuring balance and order among deities and mortals. He was often seen as a just ruler, but he could be wrathful and vengeful when disrespected. The most famous punishments he carried out are Prometheus' punishment. When Prometheus stole fire for humanity, Zeus punished him by chaining him to a rock, where an eagle ate his liver daily. Pandora's box. Zeus sent Pandora, the first woman, with a box, full of evils to punish mankind. And Sisyphus' eternal punishment. Sisyphus, who tried to cheat death, was forced to roll a boulder uphill forever. When the humans became corrupt, he sent a massive flood to cleanse the world. Only Deucalion and Pyrrha survived and repopulate humanity. Zeus is often depicted as a powerful, bearded man wielding a thunderbolt, his signature weapon. Sometimes there is an oak tree or eagle around him. Zeus was worshipped widely in ancient Greece, with major temples such as the Temple of Zeus in Olympia, which is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The ancient Olympic Games were held every 4 years in honor of Zeus at Olympia.
Next up is
Hera. She is the queen of the Olympian gods. She is the goddess of women, family, childbirth, and marriage. Hera represents the sanctity of marriage and protects married women. She is the child of Cronus and Rhea. They are the leader of the Titans and the goddess of motherhood. She has 5 siblings. They are Poseidon, Hades, Hestia, Demeter, and Zeus. Zeus and Rhea are married. Zeus tricked Hera into marrying him by turning into a bird. He pretended to be weak and cold, so Hera held the bird close to her chest. Zeus transformed back and took her as his wife. Together they have 4 children. Ares, the god of war. Hebe, goddess of youth. Eileithyia, goddess of childbirth. Hephaestus, god of fire and blacksmiths, though some myths say he was born without Zeus. Hera is also known for her jealousy and vengeance. especially against Zeus's numerous lovers and children, often cursing or punishing his lovers and their children instead of Zeus himself. She sent 2 serpents to kill Hercules to kill him as a baby. Hercules managed to strangle them. His 12 labors started because Hera drove him mad, leading him to kill his family. When Leto was impregnated with the child of Zeus, Hera banned her from giving birth on solid ground. Leto managed to find a floating island. On Delos she gave birth to Artemis and Apollo. Echo, a nymph, distracted Hera with endless conversation to protect Zeus's affairs. When Hera found out, she cursed Echo so she could only repeat others' words, leading to the tragic Narcissus story. She also played a key role in the Trojan War. At a dinner, a golden apple was presented by Eris. She is the goddess of discord. Whichever goddess was the fairest should have the apple. Paris, a prince of Troy, was nominated to judge which goddess was most fair. Hera promised him power. Athena promised him wisdom. Aphrodite offered him the most beautiful woman in the world. She offered the hand of Helen of Sparta, the wife of King Menelaus. He chose Aphrodite, leading to Hera's hatred of Troy and her support for the Greeks in the Trojan War. She did everything in her power to see Troy destroyed in the war. She even drove her son Ares, god of war, off the battlefield when she saw he was fighting on behalf of the Trojan army. Hera was worshipped by women seeking fertility, a successful marriage, and safe childbirth. Her main centers of worship included the Heraion of Samos, one of the oldest temples in Greece, the Heraion of Argos. Argos was one of Hera's favorite cities. The Heraion of Olympia, one of the earliest Greek temples. When she is pictured, she usually wears a crown, symbol of her status as queen of the gods. Sometimes she is surrounded by animals, like a peacock, a cow, or a lion.
The third one is
Poseidon. Poseidon ruled over the seas and oceans, but his influence extended to earthquakes and horses. He was often called the Earthshaker due to his power to cause earthquakes. As the god of horses, he was revered by horse trainers and charioteers. Some myths even credit him with creating the first horse, Scythios, or the horse Arion. Poseidon was known for being impulsive, prideful, and easily angered. Unlike Zeus, who ruled the sky, Poseidon's realm was far more unpredictable and treacherous, reflecting his personality. Despite his temper, he was also seen as a protector of seafarers and a patron of horse racing. He was also known for his volatile and capricious nature. Sailors would often sacrifice bulls or horses to appease him before long voyages. His palace was said to be in the depths of the sea, made of coral and gems. Poseidon often traveled the seas on a chariot pulled by hippocamps, mythical sea horses. He is the child of Cronus and Rhea. They are the leader of the Titans and the goddess of motherhood. He has 5 siblings. They are the other original Olympians: Hera, Hades, Hestia, Demeter, and Zeus. Poseidon was known for his numerous love affairs, both with goddesses and mortal women. Some of his notable children include Theseus, a hero and king of Athens; Triton, a merman and Poseidon's messenger; Polyphemus, the Cyclops who encountered Odysseus; Pegasus, the winged horse born from Medusa's blood; and Chrysaor, a giant also born from Medusa's blood. A well-known myth is about Medusa. Poseidon seduced her in the temple of Athena, which enraged the goddess. Athena cursed her by turning her into a monster with snake hair. During the Titanomachy, the great war between Titans and Olympians, Poseidon joined his brothers in the battle, because he was freed by Zeus after being swallowed by Cronus. During the Trojan War, Poseidon teamed up with the Greek forces. The Trojans had insulted Poseidon, leading to his desire to see them defeated. He supported the Greeks by constructing their fleet. During the battles, Poseidon often sent winds to aid the Greek ships, allowing them to navigate the Aegean Sea effectively. Poseidon's signature weapon is his trident, a 3-pronged spear crafted by the Cyclopes. As a major deity, Poseidon was widely worshipped in coastal cities and islands. When he is pictured, he is usually shown as a strong, bearded man holding a trident, sometimes accompanied by sea creatures like dolphins or horses.
The fourth one is
Demeter. She is the goddess of agriculture and harvest. She is also associated with fertility and grain. She is often portrayed as a protective and nurturing mother, but also as a goddess capable of great wrath when her loved ones are harmed. When angered, she could cause widespread crop failures and famine. Apart from agriculture, she also protected marriage and sacred law. She is the child of Cronus and Rhea. Cronus is the leader of the Titans and Rhea is the goddess of motherhood. She has 5 siblings. They are the other original Olympians: Hera, Hades, Hestia, Poseidon, and Zeus. Demeter had relationships with several god and humans. She had children with Poseidon, including Despoina and the immortal horse Arion. One of the most famous stories about Demeter is the story about her daughter. Together with Zeus she had Persephone. She was abducted by Hades. He is the god of the underworld. He took her to be his queen. Distressed, Demeter searched the world for her daughter, neglecting the earth, causing crops to wither and die. Zeus intervened when he saw that humanity was suffering. Zeus ordered Hades to return Persephone. But Persephone had eaten pomegranate seeds in the underworld, binding her to that realm for a part of the year. Zeus and Hades made a compromise. Persephone would spend part of the year with Hades, autumn and winter, and part with Demeter, spring and summer. This myth explains the changing of the seasons. When Persephone is in the underworld, Demeter mourns, and the earth becomes barren. That's when we have autumn and winter. When Persephone returns, Demeter rejoices, and the earth blossoms. That's when we have spring and summer. Demeter could be fierce and vengeful when provoked. When King Erysichthon cut down one of her sacred groves, Demeter cursed him with insatiable hunger, leading him to eat himself to death. She also cursed the city of Pylos with drought after its king offended her. Demeter was highly revered in ancient Greece, especially in agricultural communities. One of the most famous festivals held in her name was the Eleusinian Mysteries. It was held annually in Eleusis near Athens for over 2,000 years. During the festival a set of ancient rituals were held in her honor. All the Greeks were invited as long as they spoke Greek and had not committed murder. The rituals were kept secret, and participants were sworn to silence. The ceremonies likely involved reenacting the abduction and return of Persephone, symbolizing death and rebirth. Other festivals included Thesmophoria, celebrating fertility and marriage. The sanctuary of Demeter in Kore and Eleusis was the central hub of her worship. Her temples were usually built in fertile regions, where crops and grains were abundant. When Demeter is pictured, she is usually depicted as a mature woman, wearing a crown of grain and holding a bundle of wheat or a cornucopia. Sometimes she holds a torch, searching for her daughter. And sometimes she is shown riding a chariot drawn by winged dragons.
The next one is
Athena. She is the goddess of wisdom, crafts, and war strategy. Athena is unique among war deities because she embodies the intellectual and strategic aspects of battle, in contrast to Ares, her brother, who represents chaotic and violent conflict. She is both a goddess of war and a goddess of peace, advocating for justice and rational solutions. She prefers diplomacy over conflict but is formidable when provoked. She is the daughter of Zeus. Zeus was warned that his first child, Metis, the goddess of wisdom, would overthrow him. To prevent this, he swallowed Metis while she was pregnant. Later, Zeus developed a terrible headache, and Hephaestus struck his head with an axe. From this action Athena was born fully grown and armored from the forehead of Zeus. She has 26 siblings, including Aphrodite, Apollo, Hermes and Heracles. They are the most famous siblings. The city Athens is named in her honor. According to the myth, Athena and Poseidon competed by offering gifts to the young city, then ruled by King Cecrops. Poseidon struck the ground with his trident, creating a saltwater spring. First the citizens were extended, but this was short-lived. The water was like seawater. It could neither quench thirst nor nourish crops. Athena planted an olive tree. Her gift could provide food and wood and even shade from the sun. The citizens of Athens favored the olive tree, making Athena their patron goddess. Another myth is the weaving contest between her and Arachne. Arachne was a talented mortal weaver who boasted she was better than Athena. Athena was annoyed and offended by her arrogance. So she challenged Arachne to a weaving contest. Athena's tapestry depicted the power and triumph of the gods, while Arachne showed the flaws and failures of the gods. Although Arachne's work was flawless, Athena was furious at the disrespect and transformed her into a spider, condemning her to weave for eternity. This myth explains the origin of spiders and webs. Athena played a crucial role in the Trojan War. This was a conflict between the Greeks and the city of Troy. She was one of the goddesses that was involved in the dispute over the golden apple of discord. Paris, the prince of Troy, was presented 3 gifts. He chose the gift of Aphrodite. This angered Athena. She did everything to see Troy destroyed. So she sided with the Greeks. During the war, she guided heroes like Odysseus, Achilles, and Diomedes. And she helped with the plan for the Trojan horse. Athena was highly worshipped in Athens. The most famous temple dedicated to her is the Parthenon. The temple stood on the Acropolis, symbolizing the city's devotion to their patron goddess. People offered her olive oil and handmade crafts as offerings. The Panathenaic festival was held annually to honor her, featuring sports, music, and religious rituals. When she is pictured, she is often depicted as a tall, graceful woman wearing a helmet and a shield representing her martial prowess and strategic mind. She does have a calm and composed demeanor. This sets her apart from other warlike gods. Usually there is a symbol of the owl nearby, a symbol of wisdom and knowledge. The olive tree that is sometimes present represents peace and prosperity.
Next up is
Apollo. He is one of the most important and complex gods. He is associated with many aspects of life, including the sun, music, prophecy, healing, and archery. He is known for beauty, intelligence, and talent. He could be a benevolent god, as a healer and protector of music. But he could also be vengeful when insulted or angered. He was a master archer. Unlike Artemis, who hunted for sport, Apollo used his arrows to punish or bring justice. He would use his bow to strike his enemies and spread disease. His most famous role was as the god of prophecy, particularly through the Oracle of Delphi. The Pythia, the priestess of Delphi, channeled Apollo's divine knowledge and gave cryptic prophecies to seekers. Many Greek leaders, including Alexander the Great, sought his guidance before making decisions. He is the child of Zeus, the king of the gods, and Leto, the Titaness of motherhood. His twin sister is Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, wilderness, and moon. He is born on Delos, a sacred island. When Leto was impregnated with the child of Zeus, Hera banned her from giving birth on solid ground. Leto managed to find a floating island. On Delos she gave birth to Artemis and Apollo. He is the father of Asclepius. Apollo taught him medicine, making him the god of medicine and healing. They both could bring disease and healing. During the Trojan War, a conflict between the Greeks and the city of Troy, Apollo played an important role. He sides with the city Troy and the prince Paris. During the war he sent a plague on the Greek army, and he helped Paris with killing Achilles. He shot an arrow into the heel of Achilles, the only weak spot he had. He also protected young boys and warriors. According to a myth, a python, a great serpent, guarded Delphi and tormented Apollo's mother, Leto. Seeking revenge, Apollo killed the serpent. He then took over Delphi. To atone for killing Python, Apollo established the Pythian Games, a major sporting and artistic festival. Apollo is famous for his many failed love affairs. One of them is about Cassandra, a Trojan princess whom Apollo granted prophecy. When she rejected him, he cursed her so no one would believe her predictions. The next one is about Daphne. a nymph who rejected him and was transformed into a laurel tree to escape him. He also had a failed love affair with Hyacinthus, a Spartan prince loved by Apollo. He was killed by a discus, either by accident or due to the jealousy of Zephyr, the wind god. The last one is about Caronus, a mortal woman who cheated on Apollo while pregnant with his son Asclepius. Apollo killed her but saved their unborn child. Apollo was widely worshipped across Greece, and his temples were among the most famous. Temple of Apollo at Delphi, home to the Oracle of Delphi, the most powerful religious site in ancient Greece. Temple of Apollo at Delos, celebrated his birthplace. Pythian Games, held every 4 years at Delphi in his honor, featuring athletic and musical competitions. There is one important modern reference to Apollo. NASA used his name for space missions. Apollo 11 is the space mission where they landed on the moon. When Apollo is pictured, he is often pictured of young and handsome, with a calm and composed face. He is often depicted with golden hair, reflecting his solar connection.
The seventh one is
Artemis. She is the goddess of the hunt, woman, and the moon. Artemis is a fierce and independent goddess who loves nature and refuses to be tied down. She is a virgin goddess, like Athena and Hestia, and fiercely protects her chastity. Artemis is both a nurturer and a destroyer, caring for young girls and animals, but also ruthless toward those who offend her. Artemis prefers the wilderness and often roams through forests and mountains with her band of nymphs and hunters. While Selene was originally the moon goddess, Artemis later took on this role. As a moon goddess, she represents feminine strength, independence, and intuition. As the goddess of the hunt, she is the best archer among the gods, known for never missing a shot. She hunts not for sport, but for balance in nature. She carries a silver bow and arrows, crafted by Hephaestus, the god of the blacksmiths and the Cyclopes. Artemis is quick to anger when she is disrespected. She punishes those who harm nature, dishonor her, or invade her privacy. Many of her myths involve punishing those who wrong her. She is the child of Zeus, the king of the gods, and Leto, the Titaness of motherhood. Her twin brother is Apollo, the god of the sun, music, and prophecy. She is born on Delos, a sacred island. When Leto was impregnated with the child of Zeus, Hera banned her from giving birth on solid ground. Leto managed to find a floating island. On Delos she gave birth to Artemis and Apollo. Right after her own birth, she helps deliver her brother. This makes Artemis the guardian of young girls and oversees their transition into womanhood. Women in labor would often pray to her for a safe delivery. There are some great myths that she is part of. The first one is about Actaeon. He was a hunter that accidentally stumbled upon Artemis bathing naked in a sacred spring. Enraged, she transformed him into a stag, deer. His own hunting dogs tore him apart, not recognizing their master. The second one is about the boar hunt. When the king Inus forgot to honor Artemis, she sent a giant boar to ravage his lands. Many heroes, including Atalanta and Meleager, joined the hunt to kill it. Atalanta, a female warrior, was the first to wound it, proving that Artemis favored strong, independent women. Orion was a great hunter who became one of Artemis' closest companions. Apollo tricked Artemis into killing Orion, fearing she was falling in love with him. When she killed him, she was heartbroken. She placed Orion among the stars as a constellation. During the Trojan War, a conflict between the Greeks and the city of Troy, the Greek king Agamemnon killed one of her sacred deer. As a reaction, Artemis sent fierce winds to prevent his fleet from sailing to Troy. If the king wanted fair winds, Artemis demanded that he would sacrifice her daughter. In some versions, Artemis rescued Iphigenia at the last moment and made her a priestess. Artemis was widely worshipped across Greece. She has her own temple at Ephesus. This is one of the 7 wonders of the world. At the Baronia festival, young Athenian girls would dress as bears to honor her. And at the Artemisia festival is held across Greece. During the festival they make sacrifices and have races in her name. Just like her brother, she has a space mission named after her. The mission of NASA Artemis program is to send humans back to the moon. When Artemis is pictured, she is often depicted hunting with her nymph companions and accompanied by a deer or hunting dogs. She is sometimes depicted as riding a silver chariot pulled by white horses across the night sky. Sometimes she holds a torch, guiding night travelers.
The eighth one is
Ares. He is the god of war, bloodshed, and destruction. Unlike Athena, who represents strategic warfare, Ares is the brutal, chaotic, and violent side of war. He is often portrayed as hot-tempered, aggressive, and bloodthirsty, but also as a symbol of raw power and courage. He is often reckless, loving battle for the sake of bloodshed rather than victory. He is often portrayed as arrogant, impulsive, and dangerous, but also as a fearless warrior. Ares is physically the strongest warrior among the gods. He can move at incredible speeds. And he is extremely hard to injure in battle. During a battle, he can incite rage and fury in soldiers. And in some myths, he can bring fallen warriors back to life. He is the child of Zeus, the king of the gods, and Leto, the Titaness of motherhood. His siblings are the other Olympian gods. Most of his family hate and are scared of him. Zeus hated him, calling him the most hateful of all gods. Athena despised him because she saw him as reckless and unskilled. Hephaestus despised him for stealing his wife. Even though a lot of gods are scared of him, he does have a couple of love stories. The most famous one is with Aphrodite. He had a passionate affair with Aphrodite, even though she was married to Hephaestus, the god of the forge. When Hephaestus found out, he trapped them in an unbreakable golden net and exposed them to the other gods. The other gods mocked Ares, and he fled in shame. Despite this, Ares and Aphrodite continued their love affair and had several children, including Eros/Cupid, the god of love. Even though a lot of gods are scared of him, he does have a couple of love stories. The most famous one is with Aphrodite. He had a passionate affair with Aphrodite, even though she was married to Hephaestus, the god of the forge. When Hephaestus found out, he trapped them in an unbreakable golden net and exposed them to the other gods. The other gods mocked Ares, and he fled in shame. Despite this, Ares and Aphrodite continued their love affair and had several children, including Eros, the god of love. The other stories are about Eos, the goddess of dawn. They had a brief love affair. Atrura, the queen of the Amazons, and mother of the warrior queens Penthesilea and Hippolyta. And Arope, a mortal princess who had a son with him. He also had a friend, Hermes, as they both had a wild and adventurous nature. During the Trojan War, a conflict between the Greeks and the city of Troy, Ares sides with the Trojans, mainly because his Aphrodite supported them. However, Athena outsmarted him in battle and helped the Greeks win. Ares was humiliated when Diomedes, a mortal warrior, stabbed him with a spear, forcing him to retreat. Unlike the other gods, the Greeks feared him more than they loved him. He represented war at its worst, chaos, destruction, and suffering. He was not a protector, but a bringer of death. And he was seen as immature, reckless, and prone to defeat. Some Greeks did worship him. Warriors respected his raw strength and courage. In Thrace, Ares was the main center of worship. And in Sparta, he was seen as a symbol of military power. There are some great myths about Ares. The first one is about the capture of Ares. Two giant brothers, Attis and Ephialtes, trapped Ares in a jar for 13 months. Ares screamed in rage the entire time, but no one came to help him. Except Hermes, who finally freed him. This humiliation further damaged Ares' reputation among the gods. The second one is about the first ever murder trial. Ares killed Halirotheus, the son of Poseidon, for trying to assault his daughter Alcippe. Poseidon demanded justice, and Ares was put on trial at the first ever court of law in Athens. He was not charged for the murder and set free, and the Areopagus, Hill of Ares, later became a real-life court in Athens. The last one is about the Caledonian boar. When the king Inus forgot to honor Ares, he sent a giant boar to terrorize the land. This led to the famous Caledonian boar hunt, where many great heroes fought the beast. A female warrior, Artemis Atlanta, was the first to wound it. Ares is usually depicted in art and pictured as a strong, muscular, and youthful man, often embodying the raw, aggressive, and untamed side of war. Usually he wears battle armor. He wears a helmet and carries a spear and sword. Usually he has a fierce or intense expression. Muscular build, symbolizing strength and combat readiness. Sometimes in dynamic poses, as if in the midst of battle. Often accompanied by dogs, vultures, or ravens. Animals associated with war and death.
Next we have
Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the goddess of love, beauty, desire, and passion, symbolizing not just romantic love, but also attraction, seduction, and the power of beauty. She can be irresistibly charming and seductive, kind and generous to those she favors, jealous, vengeful, and cruel to those who offend her, and deeply connected to nature, the sea, and springtime. She is not just about romance. Aphrodite controls all aspects of attraction, from lust and passion to romantic devotion and even destruction. There are two stories about her birth. In one version, she was born from sea foam, after Cronus castrated Uranus and threw his genitals into the ocean. In another version, she is the daughter of Zeus and Dione. This version is less popular but appears in Homer's Iliad, a poem from a philosopher. If she is the daughter of Zeus, her siblings are the other Olympians. Even though she was married to Hephaestus, she had many lovers. Her most famous affair was with Ares, the god of war. They were caught by Hephaestus, who trapped them in a golden net. The gods mocked them, but she and Ares continued their love. They had 4 children: Eros, the god of love and desire; Phobos and Deimos, the gods of fear and terror; and Harmonia, the goddess of harmony. She has a tragic love story with Adonis. Adonis was a beautiful mortal whom Aphrodite deeply loved. He was killed by a wild boar, which was sent by Ares, because he was jealous. Heartbroken, Aphrodite turned his blood into the anemone flower. The last love story is about Anchises, a Trojan prince. Aphrodite fell for him. Together they had Aeneas, a great Trojan hero. She used her beauty to seduce both mortals and gods, and her affairs often caused conflict. She also played a key role in the Trojan War. At a dinner, a golden apple was presented by Eris. She is the goddess of discord. Whichever goddess was the fairest should have the apple. Paris, a prince of Troy, was nominated to judge which goddess was most fair. Hera promised him power. Athena promised him wisdom. Aphrodite offered him the most beautiful woman in the world. She offered the hand of Helen of Sparta, the wife of King Menelaus. He chose Aphrodite, leading to the start of the war. In Sparta, Aphrodite was seen as a warrior goddess. She was worshipped as Aphrodite Aurea, which means warlike Aphrodite. Spartan warriors offered prayers to her before battle. There are some great and famous myths of Aphrodite. Pygmalion and Galatea. Pygmalion, a sculptor, created a statue of the perfect woman. He fell in love with his own creation, and Aphrodite brought the statue to life as Galatea. And Galatea and Pygmalion got married. Aphrodite and Hippolytus. Aphrodite cursed Hippolytus, a prince who refused to worship love. She made his stepmother fall in love with him, leading to his tragic death. And the last one is about Aphrodite and Psyche. Aphrodite was jealous of the mortal Psyche, who was so beautiful that people worshipped her instead. She sent her son Eros to make Psyche fall in love with a monster. Instead, Eros fell in love with Psyche, and they had a dramatic love story before finally reuniting. Aphrodite was widely worshipped across Greece and Rome, with many temples in her honor. The sanctuary of Aphrodite in Cyprus, Paphos, Cyprus was her most sacred place. People came from all over Greece to worship her. Her priestesses performed sacred rituals of love and fertility. The Temple of Aphrodite at Corinth. This temple was one of the wealthiest in Greece. Sacred priestesses, often called sacred prostitutes, served the goddess. It was a major center for worship and pilgrimage. There are also festivals in her name. Aphrodisia, a festival in Athens and Corinth celebrating love and fertility. Adonia, a mourning festival for Adonis, held mainly by women. When Aphrodite is shown, she is almost always shown as eternally youthful and exquisitely beautiful, with perfect features that symbolize idealized feminine beauty in Greek culture. She is often partially or fully nude, especially in later classical and Hellenistic art, which emphasized her sensual nature. She sometimes wears diaphanous robes and wears a crown made of flowers.
The next one is
Hephaestus. He is the god of fire and a genius craftsman and divine blacksmith. Unlike the other deities, who are often depicted as flawless, Hephaestus is unique because of his physical imperfection. Hephaestus was not just a blacksmith, his abilities went far beyond forging weapons. Although Prometheus stole fire for humans, it was Hephaestus who originally controlled fire. Fire became the foundation of civilization, allowing metalworking, cooking, and technology. Hephaestus had control over magma. Volcanoes were believed to be his forges, and eruptions were his anger or work in progress. He gave humans the knowledge of metalworking, sculpture, and fire-based crafts. His influence is seen in modern engineering, blacksmithing, and design. In most myths he is the son of Zeus and Hera. In some other versions he doesn't have a dad. Hephaestus' birth story is one of rejection and hardship. Hephaestus was born crippled in one leg. Hera, ashamed of his imperfection, threw him off Mount Olympus. He fell into the sea and was raised by the sea goddesses Thetis and Eurynomy. He grew up in an underwater forge, where he became a master craftsman. In some myths, Hephaestus was not born lame. Later, he took Hera's side in an argument against Zeus. Zeus threw him off Olympus, and he fell for an entire day, landing on the island of Lemnos. The impact crippled his leg. He was married to Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. However, their marriage was unhappy because Aphrodite loved Ares, the god of war. Hephaestus suspected Aphrodite was unfaithful. He crafted an unbreakable golden net and placed it over their bed. When Ares and Aphrodite lay together, the net trapped them. Hephaestus called the other gods to witness their shame, but they just laughed. Humiliated, Hephaestus eventually freed them, but he and Aphrodite were never happy together. Though his marriage to Aphrodite was troubled, Hephaestus had other lovers. Aglaea, one of the three Graces, became his second wife. Etna, a minor goddess, was associated with volcanoes. He was also linked to various nymphs and mortals. His children included Erichthonius, a legendary king of Athens, who was born from the earth after Hephaestus attempted to pursue Athena. Hephaestus was the most skilled artisan of the gods. His workshop was located beneath volcanoes, where he forged incredible weapons and armor. Some of his creations include the palaces of Olympian. He designed golden mansions for each god on Mount Olympus. Zeus thunderbolts, given to Zeus as a powerful weapon. Achilles' armor, the near-invincible armor. Helios' chariot, the sun god's golden chariot that moves across the sky. The chains of Prometheus, forged to bind Prometheus as punishment for giving fire to humans. And Pandora, the first woman, created by Hephaestus as a punishment for humanity. Zeus ordered Hephaestus to create Pandora, the first woman. She was beautiful but destined to bring doom. She opened the forbidden jar, releasing all evils upon the world, except hope, which remained inside. Hephaestus played a major role in the Trojan War, a conflict between the Greeks and the city of Troy, both as a creator and a fighter. When Achilles' friend Patroclus died, Achilles needed new, invincible armor. His mother Thetis begged Hephaestus to create one. he made a shield so powerful that it reflected the entire universe. With this armor, Achilles became nearly unstoppable. And he saved Hera from Zeus' wrath. When Hera tried to manipulate Zeus, he got angry and hung her from the sky. Hephaestus came to her rescue, even though she had once abandoned him. This shows that even though he was mistreated, he was still compassionate. Hephaestus is part of some other great myths. Hephaestus versus Athena. Hephaestus desired Athena, but she rejected all lovers. However, in one myth, Hephaestus tried to pursue her. He chased Athena but failed to capture her. In his frustration, his seed accidentally fell on the earth. From this seed of the forge, Erichthonius was born, a legendary king of Athens. Athena raised Erichthonius as her own, and he became a wise and powerful ruler. Hephaestus' revenge on Hera. After being thrown off Olympus by Hera, Hephaestus never forgot her rejection. So, he plotted revenge. He crafted a magnificent golden throne and sent it to Hera as a gift. When she sat on it, invisible chains suddenly trapped her. No one could free her, and she was stuck on the throne, unable to move. The gods begged Hephaestus to release her, but he refused out of spite. Finally, Dionysus, the god of wine, got Hephaestus drunk and brought him back to Olympus. Hephaestus agreed to release Hera, but only if he was given a place among the gods. Though not as widely worshipped as Zeus or Athena, Hephaestus did have important cult centers. His major temples are the Hephaestion, located in the Agora of Athens, showing his importance to craftsmen. One of the best preserved temples in Greece. And the temples in Lemnos. Lemnos was his sacred island, where he supposedly landed after being thrown from Olympus.
The 11th one is Hermes. He is the god of trade, thieves, travelers and the messenger of gods. He is known for his speed, intelligence, and wit. He was also seen as a guide and trickster. He has the ability to move between worlds, from Olympus to the mortal realm and even the underworld. Hermes was a rare god who could befriend both divine and mortal beings. He is the son of Zeus, the leader of the gods, and Maia, a titaness. Hermes was born in a cave on Mount Selene, Arcadia. He was incredibly gifted from birth. As a newborn, Hermes snuck out of his cradle and found a herd of Apollo's sacred cattle. He stole 50 cows, but to hide his tracks, he made them walk backward. This was his first trick. When Apollo found out, he was furious. Hermes had invented the lyre, a music instrument. So Hermes charmed him with music. Apollo forgave Hermes and traded the lyre for the stolen cattle, making Hermes the god of music's companion. Zeus laughed at Hermes' cleverness and made him the official messenger of the gods. He was the only god who could move freely between Olympus, Earth, and the underworld. He often carried Zeus' commands and was trusted with diplomatic tasks. Hermes had many different other roles, making him one of the most active and useful deities. He was the patron of travelers and merchants. Hermes protected merchants, traders, and businesspeople. Travelers often prayed to him for safe journeys. They placed stone markers called herms, pillars with Hermes' head, along roads for protection. God of thieves and trickery. Hermes was the patron of thieves, con artists, and tricksters. He used cleverness, not violence, to outwit opponents. Thieves prayed to Hermes for luck in their heists. Guide of souls. Hermes guided souls of the dead to the underworld, ensuring they reached Hades safely. He was one of the few gods Hades actually liked. His last role is being the god of language and wit. He invented the Greek alphabet and was the god of communication and rhetoric. He helped poets, writers, diplomats, and negotiators. Hermes is part of some famous myth stories. The first one is about Persephone. When Hades kidnapped Persephone, her mother Demeter was devastated. Zeus sent Hermes to the underworld to negotiate her release. Hermes persuaded Hades to let Persephone return for part of the year, creating the seasons. The second one is about Argus. Hera ordered Argus, a giant with 100 eyes, to guard Io, a woman Zeus loved. Zeus sent Hermes to rescue Io. Hermes played soothing music and told long stories, making Argus fall asleep. Then, Hermes killed Argus, earning him the title, Argus Slayer. Hera placed Argus' eyes on the peacock's tail as a tribute. This myth shows Hermes' ability to use intelligence instead of brute force. The last one is about Pan. Hermes had many lovers, both goddesses and mortals. One of his most famous children was Pan, the half-goat god of the wild. Pan was born ugly and covered in fur, but Hermes proudly showed him to the gods. Pan became the god of shepherds, music, and nature. Unlike gods of war or kingship, Hermes was a god for everyday people. He was worshipped in temples and shrines. In Athens, Hermes was honored in markets and festivals for merchants and traders. Hermes, stone pillars, found all over Greece, placed at crossroads, homes, and markets for protection. And on Mount Selene, which was his birthplace, many Greeks worshipped him by making offerings. He also has a festival in his honor, Hermia, a festival where slaves and masters switched places for a day, celebrating trickery and wit. The planet Mercury is named after him, reflecting his speed and movement. Next up is Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, home, and family. She is the most important yet least talked about Olympian goddess. Hestia was considered the most peaceful and gentle of the Olympians, always preferring harmony over conflict. She represents the warmth of home, hospitality, and the sacred flame that binds families and communities together. She is kind, gentle, nurturing, peaceful, selfless, and humble. Her parents are Cronus, the leader of the Titans, and Rhea, the goddess of motherhood. Her siblings are the other Olympians. She never married and remained a perpetual virgin. But both Poseidon, god of the sea, and Apollo, god of the sun and prophecy, wanted to marry her. She swore an oath of eternal virginity to Zeus, dedicating herself to the hearth and home instead. Unlike Aphrodite, Artemis, or Hera, Hestia's form of femininity was not about passion, marriage, or childbirth, but about nurturing, protection, and inner strength. She was seen as the peaceful Olympian. Unlike her siblings Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, and Hades, who constantly fought for power, Hestia chose peace over conflict. She was originally one of the 12 Olympians, but when Dionysus was born, she willingly gave up her throne to him to avoid conflict. Despite this, she was still honored in every home and city, proving that true power doesn't always require a throne. Hestia doesn't have many myths, but here are some interesting stories about her. Hestia saves herself from assault. The drunken god Priapus once tried to assault Hestia while she was sleeping. Before he could do anything, a donkey brayed loudly, waking her up. She escaped unharmed, and because of this, donkeys became sacred animals to Hestia. Hestia and Prometheus fire. When Prometheus stole fire from the gods to give to humanity, it was considered stealing from Hestia's domain. Despite this, Hestia did not punish him, as she was compassionate toward humanity. She accepted that fire was now a gift for all. Hestia's role in the Trojan War. Unlike gods like Ares, who craved battle, Athena, who strategized for war, and Poseidon, who took sides in the Trojan War, Hestia stayed neutral. While other gods took sides in the war, Hestia focused on keeping the hearths burning and offering stability. Even in the middle of chaos and destruction, her presence ensured that home and civilization endured. Unlike other gods, Hestia doesn't have many dramatic myths or epic battles. Instead, she was deeply respected and honored in everyday life. In Greek households, the hearth, fireplace, was sacred to Hestia. Families lit a fire in her honor. The hearth fire was never allowed to go out, as it symbolized the life and unity of the family. Whenever people moved to a new home or colony, they carried fire from their city's sacred hearth to start the new settlement. Every city had a public hearth where a sacred fire burned continuously. If it ever went out, it had to be relit from another sacred flame. She was so essential that before and after every meal, an offering of food was given to Hestia. In Greek culture, welcoming guests with warmth and kindness was sacred, and Hestia played a key role in this. Travelers, strangers, and beggars were always to be treated with respect, because Hestia's presence was in every home. The first and last offering in any home or temple was always given to Hestia. Unlike other Olympian gods who had grand temples and elaborate statues, Hestia's temple was every home. While Hestia's personal worship took place at home, she was also honored at the Prytaneon, a building in Greek cities where the city's eternal fire burned. This sacred fire symbolized the unity of the city and its people. Hestia's influence can still be seen today. The Olympic torch. The Olympic flame, carried from Greece to the host country, is inspired by Hestia's sacred fire. It symbolizes unity, continuity, and the eternal spirit of competition. The concept of home and hospitality. The idea that home is a sacred place comes from Hestia's influence. The warmth of the hearth is still a symbol of family and safety in many cultures. Hestia is a symbol of feminine strength. While other goddesses are known for war or beauty, Hestia's power comes from her inner peace and stability. She is a reminder that quiet strength is just as powerful as physical might. And the last one is Dionysus. He is the god of wine, theater, revelry, and ecstatic madness, embodying both joy and chaos. Dionysus was not just a party god. He represented transformation, chaos, and the breaking of boundaries. As the god of wine and ecstasy, Dionysus brought the gift of wine to humanity. Wine was seen as both a blessing and a curse. It could bring joy or madness. He taught mortals how to cultivate grapes but also warned them about excess. He was a patron of theater and storytelling. Dionysus was the god of drama and performance, inspiring poets, playwrights, and actors. He was also seen as the liberator. Dionysus was a god of freedom, breaking social and gender norms. His cult welcomed outcasts, women, slaves, and foreigners, unlike most other Greek religious practices. His rituals allowed people to shed their normal identities and embrace wild, ecstatic states. And as god of madness and chaos, he drove people insane when they denied him or tried to suppress his worship. His parents are Zeus, king of the gods, and Semele, a mortal princess. Dionysus has one of the strangest birth stories in Greek mythology. His mother, Semele, was a mortal princess who had an affair with Zeus. Hera, jealous of Semele, tricked her into asking Zeus to reveal his true godly form. When Zeus did, his divine power incinerated Semele, but Zeus saved the unborn Dionysus by sewing him into his own thigh. Months later, Dionysus was reborn from Zeus' thigh, making him the only Olympian born from a god and a mortal. This is why Dionysus is sometimes called the twice-born god. Unlike most Olympians, Dionysus was raised away from Mount Olympus. After his birth, Hermes took him to be raised by nymphs in the mountains to protect him from Hera. As he grew older, he wandered the world, spreading the secrets of wine, theater, and religious ecstasy. Because he was born of a mortal mother, many viewed him as not fully divine, and he was often rejected by kings and cities. Pentheus, king of Thebes, banned Dionysian rituals and mocked Dionysus as a fraud. Dionysus tricked Pentheus into dressing as a woman to spy on the Maenads, his frenzied female followers. Pentheus was discovered, and the Maenads, in their divine madness, tore him limb from limb. His own mother, Agave, killed him with her bare hands, thinking he was a lion. The daughters of King Minyas refused to worship Dionysus, preferring work over festivals. Dionysus cursed them with madness, making them hallucinate and tear apart their own children, thinking they were animals. There are some more famous myths about Dionysus. The Maenads. The Maenads were Dionysus' wild female followers. They roamed the mountains, drinking, dancing, and entering a divine frenzy. In this state, they became supernaturally strong and could tear apart animals, and sometimes men, with their bare hands. The Satyrs. Satyrs were half-man, half-goat beings who followed Dionysus. They were symbols of indulgence, sexuality, and humor. Pan, the god of the wild, was often depicted as a satyr-like companion of Dionysus. Dionysus and Ariadne, a love story. Ariadne, a Cretan princess, was abandoned by Theseus on the island of Naxos. Dionysus found her, fell in love, and made her his immortal wife. He gave her a golden crown, which became the constellation Corona Borealis. The pirates who mocked Dionysus. A group of pirates kidnapped Dionysus, thinking he was a rich noble. They mocked him and refused to believe he was a god. Dionysus transformed their ship into a mass of vines, turned into a lion, and sent a wave of madness upon them. The pirates jumped into the sea and were transformed into dolphins. Dionysus had one of the most widespread and unique cults in ancient Greece. They worshipped Dionysus in the Theatre of Dionysus, Athens, where actors would wear masks and take on different identities. This is the birthplace of Greek drama. At the Dionysia, a festival of wine and theatre plays were performed in his honor. Mystery cults. Followers of Dionysus participated in secret rituals involving dance, music, and ecstatic experiences. His worship spread across Greece, Rome, and even parts of Asia, influencing later Bacchic cults. Thank you so much for watching. I hoped you enjoyed it. If you want a video about a specific mythological being, please let me know in the comments. Have a great day.